of my slides to present this part first, but challenge duly accepted and challenge resolved. At the December retreat, we resolved to address the resource allocation fee. So actually you'll see that in the next part, which is the budget for 2013.
Excellent, and I thank you, and I look forward to seeing you. Thank you, Jim.
Cheers.
I strongly accept the wordings of Andy about the consideration of the membership fee for the new member. But at the same time, after going through the financials of 2010, 11, 12, what we are finding that into the operating surplus increased after the tax. In 2010, it was 73%. In 2011, it was 923%. And in 2012, it is 27%, as per your annual report, what you have submitted through the online today. Sir, everybody knows about that the telecom industry is going under a very high pressure due to this low margin and financial expenditure increasing day by day. And it is a high time to reconsider those things. What we have reconsidered when in 2007-8, I'm not exactly knowing the date, but 2007-8, APNIC has revised their fee structure from US dollar to Australian dollar with a factor of 0.8 of US dollar. We know that APNIC is a non-profit organization, and I will request for rationalization of the fees, looking towards the very bad situation of the telecom sector. During the Cambodia meeting, I requested during the AMM, and I think, James, you have assured that by December you will be able to take some decision and it will be conveyed the month of February, and today is the March. We are waiting for your favorable decision towards the industry so that the survival of the industry can be there. Because if APNIC is considering about reducing their expenditure, we telecom companies are also considering for reducing our expenditure from here and there. And at that time, as a APNIC, as a non-profit organization, I will request to the community to please reconsider about the fees once again, so that the burden on the individual member should be reduced. Thank you.
So I suppose in broad terms, I'll address the concept of fees and the way that I look at it as Treasurer, and I think that the EC also looks at it. We have to balance a number of different issues that really have a big impact on the industry. The first issue is obviously the financial stability of APNIC. I think that was the reason I wasn't on the EC, that it was the time it was changed from US dollars to Australian dollars. But I know the reason behind that was to secure the amount of revenue on an ongoing basis in relation to the costs in the same currency. APNIC for a number of years had a very difficult budget process because you would find that you couldn't budget for what the income exchange rate was likely to be when it was in US dollars, whereas 80 to 90% of the costs were in Australian dollars. So it's very difficult to apply a sliding exchange rate or to have your income in one currency and your costs in another. So I mentioned that one of the goals as Treasurer is to have a financially secure APNIC. I think the second goal we have is to make sure that we don't underprice or overprice the resources or membership and the resources. If we suddenly make APNIC membership free, we would have large impact on the number of people joining. Number of people joining means that the last Flash 8 wouldn't necessarily be allocated to the right people and on demand. So there is a fine balancing act between cost of membership, financial security for APNIC, and in reality the correct reallocation of the final resources. So I definitely addressed your concern about the Australian dollar appreciation at the last meeting. We did address it at the December meeting. I didn't necessarily give a commitment to announce a change on that, but we have addressed it, and we are looking at ways to address the economies where currency has been a negative impact in terms of costs or fee increases. I would also point out APNIC, apart from, I think it was 3 years ago now, has not raised fees. We have CPI increases in Australia in broad ranges of 2 to 4%. APNIC as an organisation absorbs those fee increases, those cost increases, without actually increasing the fees. But your point has been definitely heard on the exchange rate input. It is a complicated issue, and it's certainly one we're considering and looking towards the Secretariat and the Finance Department to provide us some input. So that it's definitely not closed, we just don't have a resolution for it at the moment. Any further questions? Okay.
Questions or comments? Then go ahead.
I'll move to the budget for 2013. The budget activity really is just a ground-up budget prepared by the Secretariat. Initially, it's prepared entirely by the Secretariat, then passed to the APNIC EC and to me as Treasurer. We take a huge amount of input from the APNIC survey, the EC strategy and guidance, and also the core operations of the EC, of APNIC. So it's a detailed bottom-up approach to doing the budget. We have some very strong data and systems for tracking the number of members, the changes over time, number of closed members. So we use that data to actively predict how many members we think we'll have in the forward year. So this is not a budget where we simply take the last year's budget, add 5% or take off 5%. It is built up from the ground up every year. So one of the things we heard from Andy at the Phnom Penh meeting was that the initial resource allocation fee was too high, and certainly the result we saw in the financial performance really indicated that to us, that we were starting to see too much money come in from that resource application fee. So we've taken that on board, and with the December meeting agreed to reduce that by 50%. There'll be a 50% discount for all new members joining and taking resources from the 1st of March. And just to be clear, that's a 50% discount on the initial resource application fee. Membership is unaffected by that change. So that'll have a revenue impact of around $1 million. So that'll be a reduction in revenue for APNIC of $1 million in 2013. But it's certainly a move that the APNIC EC felt was needed and required, and would broaden the ability for us to provide resources to people who needed it, certainly in developing or less developed countries. Okay, so membership fees. We've taken an estimate growth of 750 new members in 2013. To give you the equivalent statistic from 2012, we had 646 member growth. So we are expecting and have budgeted for an increase in members, and that's a trend that has been consistent for the last, well, actually, since forever. So we do expect to have more members. We've assumed a growth in associate members moving into new tiers, into higher tiers. That's where they actually shift from having no resources to having resources, and that's a common thread each year. People join as an associate, get their resources, and then on their anniversary date they move up a membership category. We've also assumed a growth in very small and small tiers. That's the members moving into those tiers from associate. Around 9% of all new members are from the least developing countries, and they still retain their 50% discount. We talked a little bit at the last meeting about the transfer fees. We announced those fees and what we assumed would be certainly an amount of revenue for that year. We have assumed and provided for 75,000 of transfer registration revenue for the 2013 budget. So not significant, but we certainly may see that increase in future years. So the projected revenue for 2013, the actual for 2012 was 17.6 million. So for the first time in a while, we're actually seeing a decrease, an expected decrease in revenue for the 2013 year, and that's to, or a very slight increase, sorry, 17.695 million. So basically the same revenue year on year. We're seeing the decrease of 35% in the top line there of IP resource application fee. That's the $1 million impact as we talked about. And then an increase in the membership fees as we see more members continuing to join. So I think that's a good result. We're keeping revenues stable while reducing the hurdle to join for new members. The projected expenses, some details there for those that are interested. Probably the bigger increases are the larger categories clearly. So salaries and personnel expenses increased 6%. We've had some rigorous debate at the EC with the Secretariat on the appropriate level of increase in costs. We came to the conclusion that is the right number. That's a factor of, I think, 2 new staff members, as well as natural CPI increases in salaries for the staff members themselves. So really, they're the big changes in costs across the year. You'll see the actual for 2012 was 14.4 million. The budget now for 2013 is 15.9 million. And the combination of that will result in a $1.7 million surplus. So we'll see total revenue of 17.69 million and total expenses of 15.9 million. So we'll see $1.7 million surplus. You can see there a graph from 1996 onwards of the revenue of APNIC in each year. That's the blue line, and the expenses on the red line. So you can see there are a number of years there, really from sort of 2003 till 2010, where revenue was either the same or, in fact, lower than expenses. So there was very little surplus created during that period. Since my time as Treasurer, and the APNIC EC has taken the view that we don't really understand the period in the next 10 years that we're going into. So now is the time for APNIC to create a solid financial foundation. So you'll see that revenue has been increasing, and we've been keeping expenses somewhat limited compared to revenue. So we are focused very much on creating a sustainable and financially sound APNIC that will outlast the next sort of 10, 15, 20 years. So that our goal shifted from the historical APNIC EC target of 1 year's worth of cash and cash equivalents in terms of the expenses to 1.5 years. And at that point, I think when we reach that 1.5 years, we'll reassess again. There is a level of uncertainty with the final /8 and moving into a world where we stop allocating resources as often or to as many new members. What happens to both the revenue and the cost base of APNIC? So really, that's the end of the budget presentation. Again, we are expecting a surplus for 2013, and that's on target to reach our 1.5 years of surplus operating expenses, and I think we'll be on target to achieve that. So any questions from the audience on the budget for 2013?
Any questions or comments? If not,
Thanks, Andy.
it's fine.
All right. Challenge accepted and resolved. Thanks all. Cheers.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. I brought myself to the podium to deliver you the Executive Council report. All right. This is, as usual, I am now showing you the lineup of the Executive Council, and I'd like to have all members from the Executive Council make an introduction of themselves. From whom? Paul, please.
Thanks, Akinori. I don't think it's necessary for me to say too much. Just as I mentioned before, APNIC has the structure according to the bylaws that the Director General, who is appointed by the EC, then has an ex officio position, which is a voting position on the EC. So I am a full member and participate in all of the EC meetings, providing regular reports and also participating in decision making. I think you all know me, and I hope to know everyone here better and better as time goes on. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Chiu Cheng. I'm one of the elected EC members from Hong Kong, and one of my full-time work is Hong Kong Internet Exchange (HKIX), and I think some of you are our participants.
Hello, I'm Wei Zhao, also named as Wendy. Some old friends call me Wendy, so please match up with myself. And I'm elected member of from China, and currently I'm with APNIC. And my daily job as employee from APNIC is IP services and external cooperation, which I have set up and point out that early morning. And yes, I'm stand up for another election if elected only. We are, I think all the EC members are willing to open their ears to members to get feedback and talk to us about what your expectation to APNIC service and community. Thank you.
Hello, James Spenceley. I just introduced myself as Treasurer of the EC, so I'll do that again. I've been on the EC for 4 years. I run a company in Australia called Focus Communications, where I'm the CEO. We deal with a whole bunch of similar issues around currency and budgets and financial reporting. So it's something I feel quite comfortable with. But I very much enjoy meeting new members and old members alike. So if you see me at lunch, please come and say hello. And love to get to know you more. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ma Yan from Beijing University of Post and Telecommunication, working in the university. So we have a lot of trainings, not only to my universities inside, but also in China, and also we're helping the APNIC training teams working around the region. So this is my very important part of the activity with APNIC, and also as an APNIC EC member. We are not only working for the current operation, but also we're looking forward to the near future. So we have the visions discussed. We'll also cooperate with the members to hear from the members what's your expectation, what's your view towards the future, how APNIC can really serve for the new member in the future development of the internet in our region. So thank you for all your support in the past, and also we'd like to work with all of you in the coming future. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Gaurav Rajpada. I'm an existing EC member since the last 2 years. In my day job, I work for Limelight Networks as Director of International Networking. And in my day job, I run a network for Limelight in Asia, plus stuff for the rest of the world. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kenny Huang. I'm an existing EC member of APNIC. I'm running for EC already 2 years, and I'm the board director of TWNIC and also chair of international committee member, and also founder of ISOC Taipei. And thank you for your coming, and thank you for enjoying the time with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. And I should not forget myself. My name is Akinori Maemura. I am from JPNIC, Japan Network Information Center, which is running the National Internet Registry in Japan. But my responsibility at JPNIC is the other side of JPNIC, which is promoting the internet thing. For example, policy research for the ICANN and some other organization for the internet governance thing, and doing the PR or promotion, events, kind of thing. But I'm really happy to do the executive council job additionally to my responsibility. All right. Functions of the APNIC Executive Council. This is quite the same slide. I have been using this for a long time, and they're pretty much covered by the Mayan. We are doing the some kind of oversight of the APNIC Secretariat job, and representing we are elected by the APNIC members and representing the members to govern, make some governance of the APNIC. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 executive council meetings since APNIC 34, and we, as you notice, in December we have the 2 days meeting, which actually consists of the retreat meeting, where not only for our resolution, but doing consideration on the future APNIC business, and which is held in Fukuoka in face-to-face. We had a big discussion about EC's conduct. We are now changing. First big change is that we decided in December Executive Council meeting to change the meeting schedule. We traditionally, since its beginning, have been doing the monthly telephone conference for the Executive Council meeting, and we changed that to have the not telephone conference but a face-to-face meeting, not monthly but a quarterly face-to-face meeting. And there is a change for us to concentrate more, make more concentration on considering the future business or some strategy or direction kind of thing, rather than doing an oversight of the secretary business. So we believe that it will deliver us the more preferable direction for the APNIC, and we actually have the quite the season of quite big change for the entire internet thing. So and the IP, we are now going into the IPv6 era. So various aspects we need to have change and have better coordination for that. So we change ourselves to do something different. We are doing some coordination activities. For example, the APNIC has entered to MOU with the RIPE NCC for the training material, RPKI tool, business management, and fluid evolution. Now, that kind of thing is pretty much shared by the RIRs. So we are doing the similar business, and we can say we are doing some friendly competition. We are better, or that kind of thing. So that's really good. And also, of course, coordination activities are quite necessary for us. And we had a joint board meeting with the LACNIC in October 2012 in Montevideo, Uruguay, where the LACNIC office is located. And at the time, LACNIC was celebrating its 10-year anniversary. So one of our purpose was to join the celebration of the LACNIC's 10th birthday. Corporate documents. I think you remember that we were working on revising the membership agreement, and so we had an extensive review process for the NIL members agreement to engage the NIL people to the discussion for having the better coordination and the definition. And right now, the NIL member agreement, that was the original title of the document, but we changed it to have better representation of the relationship to be NIL member APNIC and NIL member relationship agreement. So I think that this title, this brand new title, represents much better for describing the relationship between National Internet Registries and APNIC. membership fees. Some of them has been already covered by the Treasury report. Setting the fee is the EC's responsibility, and we had some discussion in the previous APNIC meeting regarding the IP resource application fee, and then after that discussion, Executive Council was under consideration to change that, and finally we decided that we reduce the IP resource application fee by 50%, and that's now being effective. I mean, as of today. And as James said, that there are no other fee change this time. Financial objects. This is pretty well covered by the Treasury report, but the important point is that we have decided to target target the cash reserve for the APNIC Secretariat business from the current level of the 12-month cash reserve. Cash reserve that's equivalent to the 12 months of operating expense to the 18 months, and that will benefit in the increased stability for the APNIC business operation, and that actually had been recommended several years ago by our expert input. Then since then we are trying to have the better coordination of the APNIC business, and we determined to have our own office, and it has been already benefiting have the additional efficiency for the APNIC business operation, and still we are now enjoying the strong membership growth and the revenues along with that. So we decided to target the new standard of the operation stability, and we targeted to be done by the 2017, means 4 or 5 years. Other responsibility of the Executive Council is to appoint the one ASO Address Council member. The Executive Council has reappointed Andy Linton to this position, the Executive Council appointee to the ASO Address Council for the year 2013. I'd like to appreciate much about Andy's service, and we are very happy to have him appointed to that position. Thank you. Thank you, Andy. And member engagement. So as I said, we are now in the season of change, and the Executive Council have intensive discussion for that. And we are representing the members to consider the good direction of the APNIC. So we must have the input from the members. So you've already familiar with the names and the faces of the Executive Council members. So please come up to us, any of us, to express what you feel onto the APNIC business. Thank you very much. And our activities are quite transparent. The www.apnic.net/ec. There is an Executive Council page where all minutes, once approved by the Executive Council, are available for your referring. So please have a look at it. And if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. We are happy to hear that. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Thank you very much. So I'd like to pass the microphone to Steve Smith. Are you ready? For the next agenda is the APNIC History Project. So we are now turning 20. We have a bunch of history. It should be compiled and organized. And that's all about Philip's presentation. Thank you, Philip.
All right, good morning, everybody. This is just a brief presentation that Gerard Ross put together, and he asked me if I would share this with you. I think it's very much more just a call for information and sharing the status of the, I suppose, the activity that Gerard has been working with us over the last 3-4 months. So this is the APNIC History Project, and we've had a few history projects on the way being discussed at Apricot this week. So as Akinori said, we are just about to start celebrating our 20 years, and we're hoping the community can help us do that. And so really the project is trying to document and celebrate the achievements and of course the personalities behind the 20 years of APNIC. I've been in the region for 15 years now, and there's certainly been quite a colorful past over that particular time. So we're really trying to fill in some of the gaps, really from APNIC's start in 1993. Right now, Gerard has prepared a draft chapter for the second book of Kilnam Chon's Asia Internet History Project. So he's really covering the 92 to 95 stage. So it covers APNIC prehistory, its formation, and the early years. Specifically, a lot of information has been drawn from multiple archival sources, personal correspondence. There have been a lot of emails that Gerard has relied on to build a picture of these early years. The URL is hard to see on the screen there, but to try and fit it all into one line, it's a Google site. You can see it on the presentation that you can download from the website. But please have a look at it. Gerard welcomes any feedback, corrections, alterations, different perspectives. Anything is very welcome. The outline of the draft currently is looking roughly like this: how the IP addressing outgrew the early registration model, the emergence of the regional internet registry models. As you know, the RIPE NCC started in 1992. There was this seminal meeting of CCIRN in Tokyo, brought together the new RIPE NCC reps, Jun Marai, Kilnam Chon, and out of that grew the launch of the APNIC experiment. That was in September 1993. And the APNIC experiment was very much a distributed model. JPNIC provided the budget space, the hardware, KRNIC provided information services, AUNIC provided DNS-related services, and the APNIC stack was a mailing list, very much a mailing list of people from all across the region. Kind of reminds me of the early .uk domain, which was also a mailing list that I participated in my early internet days. Outline of draft 3. So the experiment ran until July 1994, and an interim APNIC followed after that. By the end of 1995, there were real staff. APNIC meetings had begun. Apricot was launched, of course, in January 1996, and David Conrad, as the DG of APNIC, was one of the motivators of Apricot happening. But there were still quite a few challenges remaining as the organization developed. Needed a more robust organizational structure and a stable funding model. So the coming chapters, as you see, Gerard has got quite a bit of work ahead of him. The organizational development and the move to Australia, policy evolution, key milestones, APNIC's role in regional development, internet governance, and of course, covering the profiles of key contributors. So maybe that's Gerard, but we all, APNIC as well, we need you to please send comments, stories, anecdotes, documents, media. In fact, anything that you have of mementos or copies of mementos or anything that you remember, archives, whatever, Please send them to history@apnic.net. We really appreciate anything you can share with us. And of course, please take a look at the chapter in the book that Jared has been writing. Our aim is to have all this together and ready in time for the APNIC meeting in Xi'an, so we can have part of our celebration there. So call to the community. If you have anything you can share, please share it sooner. The greater the chance we can get you as part of APNIC's 20 years. Many thanks. Are there any questions or feedback that I'll hand back to the chair.
Even now, if you have any question or comments. Okay? APNIC staff was the mailing list. It's really impressive. Okay, actually we are running very earlier, much earlier than we planned. So I'm now still wondering how we should do, but I'd like to invite Tim Wee for the reminder for the vote. Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm very pleased to note that many people have rushed out to the voting desk to put in your submit your votes. However, there may be a few of you who have not yet done so. So just a very gentle reminder before lunchtime to please cast your vote before you go and have your lunch. The voting desk outside is manned by Connie and George, and they are anxiously waiting for your ballots to be inserted into that box just outside this hall. We will close the election at 2 o'clock local time as scheduled, but still please try to deposit your ballots before lunch to avoid a mad rush at shortly before 2 p.m. We will also like to request the election scrutineers, Mark Costas, are you here? Mark? And Emilio? Right, I will hunt you guys down later on. The scrutineers should be at the voting desk by 2 p.m. So with that, thank you very much. Anything I need to add, George? No? Okay, then happy voting. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Anyway, happy voting. All right, still we are running very earlier. Then I'd like to ask Andy. Are you ready for the reporting? The SIG? Sorry, it's maybe sudden request for you, but I'm sure you can do that. Thank you very much.
This was the bit I was worried about, that the slides would be here. I mean, I can get up, but, you know. So, we had 3 sessions in the policy SIG meeting, one on Wednesday and 2 yesterday. And we had a number of informational presentations. I'll just go through those very quickly for you. So we had a presentation from the Secretariat about the creation of route objects in the APNIC WHOIS, and that was to do with some contradictions, if you like, between the creation of route objects in the WHOIS database and the ROA objects, which are sort of precursor to some of the RPKI work. So really it was so that it would be brought to the attention of the community and see what the feeling from the community was. And there was an indication that people felt it was something we should progress and explore some more. There was a paper presented on policy options for encouraging membership of an NIR, and it analysed some of the possible ways that people might behave or do things. And the author was seeking comment and feedback and presented that paper. There was a question about the role of the APNIC Secretariat in the PDP, and the question that was asked was, would the Community Support Secretariat input to the policy process? In the past, members of the Secretariat have actually proposed policy proposals. That has, in recent years, has not been the case, and now we're at the point where we're asking, is that always the best option? So again, more exploration of that, probably on the mailing list, and just see where we go with that. We also discussed in there that potentially another way for information to come to the members of the policy SIG community would be for slightly more detailed reports on the impact of policy on the activities of the Secretariat. So if we produce a policy which looks on paper to be good, but has some unexpected impact on the way things work, then we should hear more about that. So that's one for the chairs to take on board and ask for more detailed information, and we'll do that. And then the chairs actually raised some questions about clarification of our APNIC policy development process. We have a document, it's our numbered, Prop 101 was the thing that made it come into being, so it was actually our first numbered document. And it has a number of things in there which are in conflict is probably too strong, but there's some discrepancies between it and our SIG guidelines. So some of the definitions are slightly different and so on. So we flagged some issues and talked about some proposed changes and edits to that policy development process. And probably the most significant one, I think, for the AMM was that one of the things we talked about was that if we accept these proposed changes, is that in future, when we bring policy proposals that we've reached consensus on to this meeting, it will be as a report and not to seek further consensus for this meeting. But that's yet to be developed. That's not what we've got to, but that's one for people to think about who are here today, who weren't there yesterday. We had two proposals. Proposal 105, which was about the distribution of returned IPv4 address blocks. We anticipate that at some time in the near future, we may see, and a lot of conjecture in there, some address blocks coming back via the global policy process and Diana and so on to us. And there was the observation that potentially that block could be treated in a different way from the final /8 policy, and there was perhaps an opportunity to give members an additional final block. It was that, but perhaps another /22. There was some debate that, given the increase in the number of members, as James reported, that we may not be in the position to have enough addresses to give everyone a /22. So we're going to take that back to the mailing list and talk about trying to devise some sort of algorithm that would give us a fair and equitable distribution of those addresses to our members. Our other proposal, our final proposal, was Prop 106, restricting excessive IPv address transfers under the final 8 block. The thrust of this was we do see some transfers between people who have got blocks from the final, got a /22 from the final /8, and they're transferring them to other people. And it's not clear that those are, whether there's some sort of manipulation of the process and people are getting these and then flicking them on to someone else. So the proposal was to find a way to get the hostmasters to manage, police, discourage, whatever. And it talked about confirm if the transfer matched the spirit of the final 8 policy. There was discussion on that, was that actually asking the hostmasters to implement something that talked about whether it matched the spirit was a difficult task for the hostmasters to do because it was relatively undefined what the process would be. So the meeting came to the conclusion that this didn't reach consensus, and that proposal has now been abandoned. But we have agreed that this is an issue we'll keep a watching brief on and see what happens. And that's my report from yesterday.
Thank you very much.
Any questions or issues?
No? Questions or comments? No. Nothing is happening on the stage.
Oh. Okay. And thank you for all your support at the meetings and so on. I've got one here and one from Masato, so I'll give it to you shortly.
Thank you. Okay. Still, we're running very early, but I think we should have the lunch break. But before that, I'd like to have an open microphone time before lunch. If you have any question or comment, you are quite welcome to come up to the microphone to say something. Izumi.
Izumi from APNIC. It's sort of related to the earlier report on our policy SIG, and I recall that there was some discussions about how we should run the policy SIG elections, and so I'm interested in considering the process in the future. And as a little bit of a new issue that I would like to bring up is that we have less focus on policy SIG discussions and don't have as much policy proposals as we used to be. So we now have 3 chairs and co-chairs, but I'm not sure if we need this many people. I mean, we have 3, but maybe for others, if we don't have as many discussions, as we used to, maybe we can bring down the number to, like, for example, 2, and would like to hear thoughts from the floor and what other people think about this idea.
All right, thank you, Izumi. Interesting topic, and if any other people have question or comments on the Izumi's, please. Or SIG chairs, if you have any comments.
I think it's a reasonable thing for us to contemplate. We certainly, I mean, one of the questions that was raised in Prop 103 at the last meeting was, do we have a growing bureaucracy and sort of process that gets top-heavy? So maybe perhaps this is a way to tackle that. I would like to hear how we deal with that at the next meeting, because we're due to have an election for chair and co-chair at the next meeting. So I'd like to hear what the community would like to do about something like that.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Okay.
Myself, Manoj Mishra from India, ISPI. This is just suggestion regarding the some financial disclosure where we are discussing about the transparency about the information. And today morning we have noted that this has been just circulated before the starting of meeting. As a term of good governance, it is necessary that the financial statement may be circulated well before, where the members can examine and make a well-informed comments or suggestion to the EC or the appropriate forum. And I have one suggestion regarding the financial disclosure. Like when we are indicating the information about the financial statement, we have just mentioned about our balance sheet and P&L account in the receipts and payment account. And for a international financial reporting system, it is necessary that their respective disclosure may also be include, so that members may know how much expenditure. However, there is some main category of expenditure has been disclosed under the received and payment account, but perhaps it is not mentioned, suppose in the heads of salary account. What are the various components has been paid? How much is paid for the salary, how much paid for the pension and other beneficial activities. So being a transparent part, it is necessary that their annexures may be also be included, and it will help for the further transparency of the APNIC. So that is my suggestion for future things, which appropriately EC may consider for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. James?
Thanks, guys. Great feedback. Look, we actually do have a formal annual report that includes the financial information, which is prepared to a public company standard. So that's a reporting entity standard and would answer all of those questions. So, Richard, do we have, is Richard in the room? Yes. No? Sanjay, have you got link to the annual report, or is it?
I should have reported in my presentation earlier. The annual report, the 2012 annual report has been published, so you have the detailed financial report there. It's on www.apnic.net/reports.
Just a clarification. Yeah, I have seen that it is published today. It is available, like an annual report is available for today. My question was that before a meeting, it may be there is some circulation time as part of transparency and governance, that the financial information or the agenda item must be available well before 7 days. This is the international best practices. Like yesterday I was seeing, so I have found that the annual report of 2011 was available, but for the 12 was not available. It is available today's morning. So transparency point of view, as a good governance, and James may explain further on this issue, as an international reporting practice is also necessary, you must circulate well before. For that is nothing.
Right. I'll take that on board, and we'll make sure we publicise the financial reporting broader and ahead of meetings. Thank you.
Or if you have something.
Thank you for the question. It should be noted as well that the APNIC EC at their meetings do examine the financial reports on a regular basis, whether they're monthly or quarterly, and that those reports are also available with the APNIC EC minutes. It is, honestly, it's very early in the new financial year, less than 2 months into the new financial year, that we do provide the audited financial reports, and I have to say, I believe that's very fine performance on the part of the APNIC finance team. So I don't think it is realistic to have the final audited reports really any earlier than they are achieved here at this meeting. However, there are draft end-of-year reports presented to the EC earlier, and those are also available on the EC website. So it's www.apnic.net/EC, and you go from there into meeting minutes and documents. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's well clarified. All right. Any other question or comments? Sato.
I'm Masato Southbank, and also I'm a co-chair for SIG. And my comment is about the number of co-chair. Since I'm co-chair, so I don't want to say many about it, but currently we have small technical problem to reduce number of co-chair because terms of two co-chair is not same. So mine will be in next year, but Steve will be in this year. So I'd like to propose aligning these two terms as first step. So for example, we can make 1 year in next election. So it means both co-chair, the term of both co-chair will end at 2014. So in 2014, we can make we can have election only to one co-chair. Then we can reduce the number.
Thank you, Masato. Dean.
Dean Pemberton, Internet NZ. I think that's a very good point brought up by Izumi and Masato about both the workload and the terms of the chairs and co-chairs. So I would urge the EC to look into this and see if there is some changes that need to be made there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please.
Sanjeev Gupta, on the a general question, is having 2 or 4 or 5 co-chairs of the policy SIG costing us anything? Is there a downside to it? Is it causing coordination problems? Will the chairs wish to?
I think Andy is asking, answering that.
I think the thing that it costs is the personal cost. I think of the chair and co-chairs having to attend this meeting, and they have to do that under their own. Typically, have to do that under their own funding, and you know, there's 2 weeks a year of lost income, or have to take holiday, or whatever it is. So it is difficult. Certainly, I find it a challenge to do that. So that's a cost to the community in that sense. Our job as chairs is at this stage is not particularly arduous, given the number of proposals we're getting. The original reason to go to 3 chairs, from my understanding, I've asked the question why we went from 2 chairs to 3 chairs, was that at the time that was happening, there was a very high workload of a lot of proposals coming to the policy SIG, and therefore it just was too much work for people to do. So that work has been cut back, and I mean, personally, I would rather not see us in any of our activities make work and make bureaucracy for the sake of it. So I think it's an idea we're thinking about.
Thank you. Thank you, Andy.
It's me again, with NIR SIG hat. I think it's a matter of balance. So we used to have 3 chairs in NIR SIG as well, but we felt, again, it's like a small SIG, and we don't need to get this many people involved. So we reduced it to 2. So that's what I felt it might be the direction that policy SIG was considering.
Brajesh Jain, I feel that we should also look into the fact that why the policy proposals are coming down and there is a seemingly lack of interest. And in that sense, I would suggest that the number of co-chairs probably it should not be reduced. Rather, the effort should be there to get motivate people to put up policy. Probably the nature of policy may change because the internet is changing, and there should be a lot of active dialogue which these policies generate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm really, happy to have this kind of active discussion, and policy SIG conduct is quite essential for our business. I think that discussion will be much better to be done among the policy SIG. So I wish. But Masato, if you have quite short comment.
Yeah, I totally agree with Andy, because especially in policy SIG, chair and co-chair should have many decisions in just 1 or 2 seconds. And what I presented in policy SIG session, we are trying to have more. We are trying to have more discussion time, but still we should do decision. We should decide many things very quickly. Like, yeah, let me say a strange thing, but I used to work as referee of soccer. Then actually it's very similar. Referee of soccer should decide many things within just 1 second. For instance, co-chair, chair and co-chairs also. Anyway, so also let me make one correction. Even though Dean said this decision should be decided by the DC, but actually current SIG guidelines said a number of co-chairs, the deciding number of co-chairs is the chair's responsibility.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. I think it's very, we are ready for lunch. Before that, I think the Sunny will make some housekeeping notice.
Thank you, Chair. I got 3 housekeeping notes to make. One is we have a closing dinner tonight, and we still have a few tickets available if you'd like. If you didn't get a ticket, if you like, or you prepared for the closing dinner and didn't get a ticket, you can get it from the desk outside. The other one is the lunch is at the Lion Restaurant downstairs, where we usually had every day so far. And the third one is, one second. Please do take the survey to help us provide and improve our conferences. It's published on the website, as you can see. Click on the button. While you are here attending the AMM, do complete it so we can get your feedback and we can constantly improve our conferences as per your requirements. Thank you very much, and let's proceed for the lunch and come back at 2 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to add some comments. So the survey is very important for us. So survey is a very good means for us to hear your voice, to improve the meeting, and as well, we are quite strongly depend on the membership survey to have how our membership collectively feel about APNIC business conduct. It is quite crucial. Please help us in by submitting your comment to survey, so we can have the greater meeting. So lunch break. Thank you very much.